this series is, you know, NBA. I know we don't like it as fans, but props to them for spreading this series out a little bit. We got to wait a couple days, then we got to wait a couple days again for Game 3. Suspense is going to build.
We just got a good fan question, which I was going to ask you. What's an adjustment you expect to see by the Celtics and also by the Nets going into Game 2, knowing that they have a little bit more time to game plan this?
Well, so from the Nets side, I'll say this: they're the most ISO heavy team in the league. They were the most ISO heavy team in the regular season. That's going to be their bread and butter. When they have Kyrie and KD, that's their bread and butter. I think the adjustment's going to be hunting matchups. So who's coming up to screen? Who's the fifth guy? Who's the fifth best defender on the floor for the Celtics at all times? That's the guy we want in ball screens. That's the guy we're going to try to manipulate into switching onto Kevin or Kyrie. You know, from the Celtics side, look, I don't know that there's like a ton of adjustments. They were winning the game. They're going to make adjustments, but they were winning the game by a comfortable margin until Kyrie went nuts in the fourth quarter. They made enough plays down the stretch. Ball movement was good. I liked everything the Celtics did. I don't know that there's going to be a huge adjustment. To me, that's the adjustment for the Nets, because the Nets, look, I don't know the Nets are going to all of a sudden say, all right, now we're going to be a movement-based team and we're going to pass 12 times every possession. That's not their DNA. So the DNA to me is let's emphasize manipulating the screening angles so we can get the matchups we want.
This isn't so much an adjustment, but I'm curious what you think about this. Just a sort of a note of positivity for the Nets. Their bench played a lot better than I think people probably expected and helped get them back in the game. Obviously, Kyrie was making a bunch of crazy shots, but Dragic played well. Claxton played well. And I do wonder if that's a little bit concerning for Boston, just knowing that obviously Kevin is not going to shoot like that probably again. And whether or not Kyrie goes for 39, he's Kyrie Irving. He's going to be pretty locked in. And so if this Nets team is 8-9 deep, forget the Ben element to it. You know, who knows with that. If this team is 8-9 guys deep, that becomes a different challenge. And it was not, this wasn't two guys going off and the rest of the team doing nothing yesterday. It was like they had a pretty balanced effort.
Yeah, we look, I brought up Nick Claxton on that possession. And again, I don't know what was said in terms of that pin away and what the plan was. To me, it looked like he was told to switch on to Tatum. It's not necessarily the strategy I would use. I would want to show bodies. You're clearly guarding someone that can shoot. I think Horford went to go screen away, but you got to sort of do both. And we talk about that. We talk about it all the time, on the court with coaches. It's like that's the hard part of the NBA. Sometimes you have to do both. Sometimes you have to fill the gap and still be aware of Tatum getting the pin away. Yep. Sometimes you have to do both. But Claxton played well. There's no doubt about it. Dragic was great. Again, Patty Mills only played 12 minutes, and I think some of that is Boston trying to get those matchups they want. And with Curry and with Mills, there is a little bit of that redundancy with a small, undersized shooter.
Really good.
I know that well. I know that well in the playoffs.
Well, there's one team that that particularly well with the last couple of years, and that's those guys. But they do it with everybody.
I don't want to belabor the Kyrie thing, by the way. And look, there was a ton of people on Twitter and all over the TV today that gave points. But I just want to say, I've flicked off a fan before. I flicked off a fan before. I don't know that I've told a fan to S my D, but I probably have. Look, it's part of it. Like, if you're gonna clap, don't get mad when you get clapped. He's gonna get fined. It's not that big of a deal. We don't need think pieces on it.
Is anyone actually offended by him doing this? You can have your other issues with Kyrie. There are plenty of things to have beef with him about over the last couple of years, but in this particular thing, like, what do you expect the guy to do? I think the idea that you have to be just stoic and take this for an entire game seems crazy to me. But.
Well, Tommy, I get DMs all the time. I get comments all the time that I use too many F words, too many F bombs in this podcast. And the reality is, some people are really offended by someone's digits, someone's fingers. Someone's offended by this. But I can't help it. Some of it is for dramatic effect.